Okay, let's dive right into this because there is a massive misconception in the world of personal finance. We're talking about the difference between getting rich, which is a skill people actually teach, versus staying rich, which is a skill almost nobody teaches. Think about it. We spend our whole lives being told how to hustle, how to save, how to build up that nest egg, but holding on to it? That's a completely different ballgame. Plenty of folks reach retirement with a really healthy bank account, only to watch it just quietly disappear. And it's not about luck, it's not about being some Wall Street genius, it's simply about knowing how to protect what you've already built.
And that brings us exactly to the core focus of today's explainer: 10 things wealthy retirees stopped buying to stay rich. We are going to look really closely at 10 seemingly normal, responsible purchases that secretly just bleed money right out of well-planned retirements. Because at some point, the couples who actually hold on to their wealth, they looked at a list of things they used to buy without even thinking, and they definitively said, nope, not anymore.
Section 1, the wealth preservation mindset.
Now, staying rich isn't about uncovering some highly guarded secret investment strategy. Honestly, it is entirely about developing the mindset to identify those quiet, everyday financial leaks and having the iron discipline to plug them. The real villains here aren't dangerous, wild risks. They're your quiet, everyday habits. I mean, none of the 10 things we were about to cover are going to look dangerous on the surface. We aren't talking about crazy crypto gambles or shady business deals. Every single one feels completely normal, responsible even. And that is exactly why they are so incredibly dangerous. They slowly drain money from people who genuinely believe they planned well, precisely because these traps just hide in plain sight.
Section 2, avoiding depreciating traps. So, let's talk about physical assets that rapidly and quietly lose their value the absolute second you commit to them. The ultimate example? The brand new car. In 2026, the average new vehicle in this country runs right around $49,000. And look, dealerships know exactly what they're doing. They understand the intoxicating feeling of driving something fresh straight off the lot better than anyone alive. But what that salesperson is never going to walk you through is the sheer financial cliff you drive off the second your tires hit the street. And that financial cliff is steep. Let's look at the time frame and the value lost. Your brand new car loses roughly 20% of its value in the first year alone. On a $49,000 car, that is nearly 10 grand evaporated into thin air before you've even made your second oil change. Stretch that timeline out to 5 years, it has quietly shed 60% of its value. Take a retiree named Clifford, for example. He used to trade his car in for a fresh model every 3 years out of pure habit. But once he actually sat down and ran these numbers, he stopped cold. Now he lets someone else take that brutal first hit. He buys lightly used 3 to 4 year old cars right after that steepest drop. He gets the exact same quiet ride, the exact same leather interior, but he keeps tens of thousands of dollars in his own pocket. Trap number 2 is the extended warranty. This one feels so small, which is why it slips right past really careful people. You're buying a fridge or a laptop, and the cashier offers to protect it for, just a little bit more. It sounds responsible, right? Well, the data here is honestly shocking. 47% of vehicle owners buy extended warranties, yet only 1 in 10 ever actually use them. And for appliances, when something does finally break, the average repair cost only about $26 more than the warranty itself. You are literally paying real money to dodge a bill that rarely ever exists. And it gets worse. On cars, this cost is often rolled directly into your loan, meaning you are paying interest on a phantom repair for years. So instead of falling for this, wealthy retirees do something wonderfully boring. Take Mira's strategy, the self-funded repair account. She simply declines the warranties across the board and funds her own quiet repair account. When something eventually breaks, she just pays for it out of that savings account and moves on. Across a lifetime, she comes out thousands of dollars ahead, and her money is actually earning interest for her, instead of just padding a salesman's commission.
Section 3, stopping the silent bleed.
This whole category is about ongoing, invisible fees that siphon your wealth away over decades. Take trap number 3, the timeshare. Oh, the pitch is incredible, right? A guaranteed slice of paradise. But the reality is way darker. In 2026, the average annual maintenance fee sits between $1,500 and $1,600, and it climbs 5 to 8% every single year, whether you step foot on the property or not. Plus, you can be hit with surprise special assessments for repairs at literally any moment. The absolute kicker? They are worth almost nothing on the resale market. We found a retiree named Wendell who added up 30 years of these rising fees and realized, with a sinking feeling, he had spent enough to buy a small house outright. If he had just put that same stream of money into a boring 7% index fund, it would have grown into a massive second nest egg.
Trap number 4 is life insurance you no longer need. Decades ago, when you had a mortgage and young kids running around, life insurance was absolutely crucial to replace your income. But let's roll the tape forward. The kids are grown, the house is paid off, yet so many retirees just keep paying hefty premiums on expensive cash value policies. This brings us to Ruben's realization. He looked hard at his life and asked a really simple question. Who actually depends on my income if I'm gone? The answer was nobody. So he stopped funding a policy that was draining money every single month to solve a problem he literally no longer had. He just redirected those premiums straight into his own investments.
Now, trap number 5 might just be the single most expensive habit on the entire list, the 1% financial advisor fee. It's just 1%, they tell you. It sounds totally harmless, but let's look at the math. Over 30 years, a $1 million portfolio earning 7% a year without a fee grows to $7.6 million. Hand over that innocent-sounding 1% fee every year, that identical portfolio grows to only $5.7 million. You just quietly gave away $1.9 million? A retiree like Bernadette saw this exact math and immediately switched to low-cost index funds and a flat fee planner. She's keeping her compounding wealth exactly where it belongs, in her own accounts.
Trap number 6 is what we call subscription creep. When asked to guess their monthly subscription spend, most people confidently estimate right around $86. But when researchers actually pull the hard bank statements, the real number comes in near $219 a month. That is well over $100 a month running silently on autopilot for streaming services, extra cloud storage, and forgotten free trials. That's over $2,600 a year just leaking out of your accounts.
So, what do the wealthy do about this? They audit. A woman named Cecilia uses this highly profitable 15-minute method. Step 1, pull the last 3 months of card statements. Step 2, hunt down every single recurring charge, no matter how small. Step 3, boldly cancel anything you haven't actually used in the past month. By cutting these ghost subscriptions, Cecilia redirects thousands of dollars back into compounding investments, and she does it without depriving herself of a single thing she actually enjoys.
Section 4. Dropping status and gambles. This next bucket is all about money lost to ego and statistically guaranteed losses. And trap number 7 starts with a pretty surprising question. Who do you think actually spends the most money on the lottery and betting pools? You'd probably guess it's young people chasing a wild get-rich-quick dream, right? Well, the government's own data reveals it's actually 65 to 74-year-olds, the very people on carefully fixed incomes who can least afford to hand their money over to a game mathematically designed to take it. Americans pour an astounding $19 billion a year into the lottery. A woman named Constance genuinely loved her weekly tickets and casino trips until she tallied up a full year's worth and realized it had quietly grown into an entire second grocery bill. Now, she didn't stop having fun. She just strictly capped her fund budget and invested the rest into an account where the odds were finally on her side.
Trap number 8 is status symbols. We're talking designer handbags, flashy watches, luxury car badges. Study after study shows that verified millionaires often spend the absolute least on looking rich. Loud spending usually comes from people desperately trying to project an image they can't genuinely afford. This was Dorian's shift. He used to feel the immense pressure to dress the part. But the moment he stopped caring what strangers thought about the watch on his wrist, his real net worth jumped. True wealth is the freedom that real money buys, not renting a flimsy image for a monthly payment. Trap number 9 is the oversized house. For years, a big house makes perfect sense for a growing family. But when the kids move out, you are left paying to heat and cool completely empty rooms. And here is the brutal rule of thumb you have to remember. 1%. Ongoing upkeep alone tends to cost about 1% of the home's total value annually, year after year, forever. That is thousands and thousands of dollars spent simply keeping the building standing upright. Olia and Franklin ran this honest math and did what so many people are just too emotionally attached to do. They downsized. They pulled their equity out of a massive house that was costing an absolute fortune to maintain, they slashed their property taxes and utility bills, and they freed up a huge pile of cash. For them, less house didn't mean a step down. It meant a richer, lighter life with the actual funds to travel and truly enjoy their retirement.
Section 5. The ultimate wealth killer.
This is the 10th and final trap, and it is the single thread that ties all these quiet leaks together. Financing anything you cannot pay for today. Wealthy retirees have a near total allergy to carrying a credit card balance. Think about it. With 2026 credit card interest rates still sitting well over 20%, compounding becomes an absolute nightmare. Compounding is either your greatest asset working for you in investments, or it is your heaviest, most brutal weight dragging you under in debt. A woman named Marguerite built an unbreakable rule for herself. If she cannot pay for it in full today, she simply does not buy it. She refuses to let a piece of plastic dictate what she can truly afford, keeping interest working for her and never ever against her. Section 6. Taking back your wealth. To wrap up this explainer, I want you to notice that none of these 10 traps are obvious villains. They are everyday, almost respectable purchases that slip right past your attention. Staying rich doesn't require a secret fortune. It just requires the courage to honestly assess these normal habits and have the strength to say, not anymore. So I want to leave you with a provocative question to reflect on right now. Which of these 10 traps hits closest to home for you, and what will you finally let go of? Have you already walked away from one of these? Because by taking an honest look at your own habits today, you take the first real step from merely getting rich to actually staying rich.